Hey everybody, Spidey here, and as always, I hope you're having a marvelous day. I'm here with my friend Fausto, the one and only Sketchcardhive, Norrin, Radd. What's up, bud?
Hey everybody, hey Justin.
Welcome to the Spidey Hits channel. My friend, we are live. We are with our friends, and we're going to talk about the history of Marvel masterpieces.
Yes.
I'm so glad you're
Can't wait.
here with me.
I'm so glad to be here, man. I'm loving these layouts. I'm so excited to be talking about masterpieces. It's a very big favorite set of mine. It's 16 definitely burnt me out pretty bad, but looking back at masterpieces, just some of my favorite cards in Marvel cards.
Yeah, you look with 2023 Marvel masterpieces, the Dos Santos edition out basically in terms of pre-orders now.
Yeah.
I thought it would be important for us to go back in time and then walk through Marvel masterpieces history up until now as we know it. That way, people who are thinking, should we be buying this product, especially at an initial pre-order of $500? Maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't,
Yeah.
but at least you should know the history of the product first, how it's been constructed, how we got to where we're at today, before you start saying, well, I'm going to chase that when there's already quite a bit of other stuff that's really pretty special.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So we're going to do this live here on the Saturday Morning Marvel Card Show, but just know that I have a desire for this video to become an edited version, more distilled down, easier to watch, faster to watch video. So if I'm not getting to your questions, that's why, not because I don't want to, but because I want to honor the overall intent to edit this video down the road. But we are live on both the Spidey Hits channel and Fausto Sketchcardhive channel on YouTube. So make sure you hit the like button in both of those. And in the chats, let us know if you already have a favorite set from going back to 92 to now. That way we can see that. All right, Fausto, let's get into it. We're going to start with 1992.
Ooh.
This is year one. This is the what did they like to use? Inaugural set back then?
Yeah. This is the super premium set as they used in the advertisements. And this was
super premium.
Super premium, high glossy, gold inlay. It's a very. It was from my interactions with Bob Budiansky, who was the special projects editor at the time for Marvel. I mean, he was the first one to basically make Marvel cards under Marvel's roof. And this 1992 set came off the backs of 1990, Jim Lee, 1991 Marvel Universe, and they wanted to do something super premium, high glossy, all that kind of good stuff. I have a bunch of notes here from the actual sell sheets and promotional material for this.
Yeah.
So I'll point out just a few things. It's just a couple of notes I have, but this set is called Super Premium. And it was, I love that, super premium. And this was them with Skybox. So it was Impel before, and then they did, started doing stuff with Skybox. And Impel beforehand was Skybox or was not Skybox. I don't know the full.
It was a part of a bubblegum company, I think.
I think so. I know there's some kind of thing where the merger or something happened there. Yeah, but we do know for a fact that the release date for this was October 21st, 1992.
Yeah, so this was like a big introduction for Skybox after, I believe, what you're referring to, this merger, this sale that occurred. And original art wasn't new to Marvel cards, like we said. 1990 MU had original art in it, and then art was created for sets moving forward from there, including the Jim Lee.
Yep.
And then we get to this style of art, though, which was different.
Very different.
We know Mr. Jusko had a history in doing fantasy art, a fan of Frazetta, and they gave him a chance to do fantasy art with Marvel characters for a trading card set, and hence the Masterpiece line was born.
Yeah, and Jusko has done a few things prior to this with Marvel and had become a big name in Marvel because of his rendition of these characters. And people have to remember this is before, MCU. This was like our version of MCU when we saw these characters for the first time on trading cards. Realistic bodies, the paint, the textures of the clothing. We had never really had that before. And this set kind of started this trend of the three main things that Marvel Masterpiece sets are meant to do. And we'll see this change shortly after this set in 1993. But the main things that I was supposed to do was be hyper premium, super classy, hence the marbling on the back of these cards. And it was meant to be one artist, right? And
Mm,
it's 135 paintings, I think it was, as crazy as that is, in three
yeah.
months.
He-
So crazy town stuff. Crazy town
yeah.
stuff.
For him still to do this level of detail and work and creativity in such a short time frame, I don't know that anybody. I mean, I'm sure someone could do it now, but it's unheard of now.
I think speaking to Dan for our new Marvel Masterpieces 2023,
Yeah.
speaking to Simone Bianchi, and even Dave Palumbo, it is not easy to do this.
Right.
It is not easy to do this. I got my surfer shirt on from Joe. It is not easy to do this and perform this. And here's the real kicker. And I think people overlook this sometimes because it happens so naturally in the cards.
Hmm.
Every card is the essence of that character, right? On the back, you have their first appearance or first cover appearance. You have a write up about them. Like, there's such good details in this set that really introduce you to these characters in a fun, interesting, but also very kind of like compassionate way. You know what I mean? Like you fall in love with who these characters are through these cards. And Masterpieces has a very good tendency of doing this kind of work.
Yeah. And so, this set um, was made up kind of more of a 90s style set. So you just had your base cards with no real variants, right? But you did have some inserts. You want to talk about those?
Yes, so you have 99 cards and the 100th card, which is a checklist. Checklists are the best. They need to bring them back. And then we had something that they had not done before, which is the Etch Spectra. The Etch Spectra, which they called Spectra Etch, which was the bonus cards first in the industry. And they were Silver Surfer versus Thanos, Hulk versus Thing, Wolverine versus Sabretooth, Spider-Man versus Venom, Captain America versus Red Skull. And that's kind of been a tradition in following Marvel Masterpiece sets. And it's the first time they used like technology. And it
Hmm.
strangely, the way I would describe it is if you've looked at PMGs, just imagine it without the full surface layer of the color. That
Yeah.
texture you get behind there where everything's etched and it feels like it's like embroidered, right? Or,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. That's really what it looks like, but keeping to the true color of the artwork as well. It's just some parts are foiled, some parts are etched, but it feels very textured,
Hmm.
very inviting kind of insert.
And these became known as battle cards, right? Or battle spectras to us
Yeah.
is what we
Spectra
became.
Etch, Spectra Etch, right? 90s advertisement for you. But Battle Spectras is what we've heard of them now, and what they've evolved into is Battle Spectra Gems,
Yeah.
just to kind of go in line with the very popular precious metal gems. So they're trying to kind of like bridge that gap. The cool thing about this set also is it's the first time we have numbers on boxes, from my
Yeah.
understanding. It's the first time we get like that kind of moment where boxes have a number on them. And it really, this is to a lot of people the set that brought them A, into Marvel cards, and B, for some people even to become artists and later storytellers and writers, right?
Yeah.
This is an
No doubt.
introduction set. Yeah.
No doubt it was an entry level type of set and burned into the memory, for the nostalgia of the older collector for sure.
Yep.
And this set was released two different ways. You had the hobby box, which, as that you pointed out, was numbered to 350,000, and then you had these tins. And the tins were important because they included cards that were not in the actual, box set. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, the lost cards, right?
Mhm.
So the lost ladies, I think they're referred to. I have
Yeah,
to see if I have the checklist up here, but yeah,
I
these
got
were
it.
pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had Scarlet Witch, Feral, Deathbird, Typhoid
Deathbird.
Mary, and Jubilee.
Ah, so good. And they're such good pieces too.
Exactly.
And they advertised them as a way to sell the tins as these cards would be included. So yes, Someone in the comments, Paul, mentioned about Spectres being very difficult to grade. This is true.
Yeah.
Spectres have always been super tough to grade. Edgeware is pretty painful on those, and Surface is pretty painful on those too. Even so many of these cards have been made, right? I think it was 350,000 boxes or something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, they're not
Um,
rare by any
they're
stretch.
not they're not rare, but they're rare in condition. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when Marvel cards were first becoming more popular with a lot of people, in terms of grading, people thought that, oh, there's so many, there's going to be easy tens, and that's just not true, because a lot of these cards were just not kept in really good care. If you look at the boxes are not well protected like you have now, where you have that extra layer of cardboard. You know what I mean? For some boxes they should have that, they don't. But
Right.
you know, they are conditioned very difficult to do sometimes, and they're high glossy. So when you buy a box, they tend to stick
Yeah.
pretty significantly.
Yeah, they do. So 92 really sets the stage for masterpieces. It becomes the benchmark for the sets, moving forward. And I imagine every artist felt the pressure of being able to produce at a level that Joe Jusko did from 92. And that brings us to 93.
Set the bar for sure. Now,
Yeah.
in 93 Marvel Masterpiece, there's various artists in this set, notably Joe Jusko,
Yeah.
Julie Bell, and Bill Sinkovich. There's quite a few more. Off the top of my head, I can't remember everyone, but there are a
A lot.
few. It's a lot. I think it's over 10 or over 12, maybe. Um, the great thing about 1993 Marvel Masterpieces, which is one of my favorite Marvel Masterpiece sets, is that you get such a good mixture of the characters, and yet they all feel very Marvel Masterpieces, right? They feel like they're still all capturing the essence of the set because they're designed for card art, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're also designed not only as like a cover, but as a way to tell the story about the character in one image. And I think a lot of the artists just simply nail that. I mean, that Wolverine is Bill Sinkovich, and it's just still one of my favorites. It's just still one of my favorites. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where we actually get an introduction to some of the artists that are going to show up later, including Julie Bell,
That's right.
which is, really nice to see her art early on. And of course, we're going to see it later as we move through the history of Marvel Masterpieces. But it's also a place where, from the Marvel Masterpiece art standpoint, we only got these artists one time. And that's, like we said now, like Bill Sienkiewicz and Brett Bevins, Joe Phillips, Dan Lawless, a number of artists that we only get to see in masterpieces in 1993 with this variety. And this set had the largest variety of artists from any other Marvel Masterpiece set. We do see multiple artists on sets moving forward. And then we come back to the traditional one artist per set. But this really set the stage for that.
Yeah. And this is a sell sheet for 1993 Marvel Masterpieces.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you can see release date October 13th, 1993. So October tends to be fall. That's why you see on the original poster in our background coming this fall, because that was tend to be the habit. And then these were kind of what was given to stores and stuff like that, and what suggested retail price was and hobby fact sheet, which is pretty funny. I wish they were
I missed that.
$1.49.
Yeah.
I missed that. But 17,500 sealed and numbered cases, which is pretty crazy to think
Yeah.
about.
So 210,000 boxes. So they backed it off a little bit, right?
Yep. Yep.
And, the thing to note about this set today, if you pick up a sealed box of this, it does brick pretty heavily.
Yes.
So cards do come out quite damaged. So be very careful about that.
Yeah.
The checklist was a 90 base set again, which we're going to see is pretty common for masterpieces. But at this time, it does mark a time and period in history when the 2099 version of a character was popular. And so we got some great art from Mr. Bob Larkin with the chase card, but not our favorite masterpiece insert when it comes to the X-Men 2099 Dinah Etch cards, right?
Yeah. So they were trying at this time in 93 2099 was like the thing, right? Blade Runner, all these kind of like futuristic things were happening around this time or a little earlier, and it was becoming kind of popular. And they went ahead and did 2099 characters, which I dig, but it is not like something we ever see repeated again because it doesn't feel very masterpieces. It
Mhm.
feels very like here's an insert set introducing all these new characters, and they weren't very popular.
Yeah.
And other sets in the future, like Dave Palumbo's Tier 4 set, you know, some of the characters in the, like Ego, are not very popular characters. You know what I mean? Not that they don't do well, but I think when you do characters that are just, when you do too many characters that are kind of off brand, you
Mhm.
go ahead and risk having that premium feel because masterpieces really should show the premium characters.
Yeah, and 93 does have a lot of characters that people aren't super crazy about. And again, when it comes to the chase cards here, you got Mean Streak, Cerebra, Crystalline, Metalhead, Serpentina, Bloodhawk, Skullfire, who is that? And Xena. Like it's again, Bob Larkin, an incredible artist,
And
but
they're
not
beautiful pieces. They're not bad. They're really good pieces. They
not
really
bad.
are. Yeah.
But
It's just the characters, you know,
but
it's
I would
tough.
say the 93 Marvel masterpieces like either tends to be somebody's favorite or their least favorite. Really not
Yeah.
much in the middle. Well, let's not we'll not counting the 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes very extreme. I just think some of the best masterpieces cards, in my opinion, come from 93. In
Well,
my
it's just because
just
you got a Julie Bell Silver Surfer, but
what are you talking about? I am not biased at all. Thank you very much.
I know. Well, look,
No, I am.
that brings us to 1994 Marvel masterpieces,
Yeah.
and you know, in terms of access to the product as a kid, this for me was at the top. I was able to get more of 94 than any other set as a kid. And it's just so bright and light. And of course, we had the brothers, Hildebrandt,
Mm-hmm.
and the work that they did here. They just knocked it out of the park. So even though this wasn't a one artist, you know, set like 92 Jusco, it still kind of was.
It really was. It felt because they work together anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you have artists that work together, and it is very common to have artists work together. Greg and
Yeah.
Tim did, you know, rest in peace, Tim. You know what I mean? But they did work together and they made some incredible pieces and some of the most vivid pieces, color wise and palettes. Like we hadn't seen this color palette really. You know, Joe did amazing work and all the artists in 93 had great palettes, but this has a different glow to it is how I always imagine it. Especially seeing some originals, there is a glow to it, especially like, there's something about their blues, there's something about the way they did the lighting in this, and it does remind me of Dan's work, which is why I'm so excited about MM23. But it does have a lot of that. I do have those cell sheets. Do you want to see that? Do you want to
Let's
see what they
pull it
look
up
like?
and then we'll get
Yeah.
into the set.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So here's something they would release, and a lot of these sets, especially 1992 Joe Jusco, had previews and released promotional material in San Diego Comic Con at the year. So it's kind of crazy to think about that, but they were promoting these sets, and this one, 94, was promoted August 27th, 1994, and this was something that was given out. And on the back is a 9 cut sheet. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
you have these kind of looks and these kind of advertisements and how they would break down the set. Um, and they also talk about Fleer Ultra a little bit here as well.
Yeah. So with 94, these two brothers, they they pumped out 140 for the base set checklist, and then you have multiple chase cards. You get the silver holofoils, which were one in
That's right.
three hobby packs. You get the power blast, which were 1 in 6 hobby packs, depending on their different versions of the way the box was released, like Walmart and jumbo packs. You get the gold foils, 1 in 4 jumbo packs. You get the bronze holofoils, which are 1 in 4 and Walmart packs only. And then you get the red holofoils, but these are debated as whether or not they're from the UK or fakes or whatever. So be careful about those. But you have a much larger chase set and a much larger base set, and it comes with a parallel. And the parallel, this was an earlier idea that had not shown up very much in Marvel cards, which is you get the same version of the card, but with some aspect of it being different. And that was with the gold signatures.
100%. And someone mentioned this in the comments, but anything that's high glossy is going to brick. A lot of the masterpieces do brick. You got to be really careful of that. I will say this as well. Promos are a massively important thing that people are forgetting in this hobby. 92 has prototype promo cards. 93 I believe does as well, and 94 I have to double check, but there are promo cards for these, and that is a major thing to keep a lookout for. And also too, like, you really have to look at these art. You have to look at the art. You have to spend time with the cards. Masterpieces is one of those things where you just get the full set in one go and just stare at the binder for hours.
Yeah.
And it's just the best feeling in the world.
You just don't rush through it.
You just don't rush through it. FPG is doing the 92 book, so that's coming out for people. There is a Julie Bell and Boris book called Superheroes, which features a lot of the original artwork unencumbered by the thing. And I only bring that up because the set can be expensive, so you want to check those out. And then Simone Bianchi has one as well. Joe Jusko has one, waiting for Palumbo, and hopefully MM23 will have one as well.
For sure. But 94, I think, is a fan favorite for a lot. I know it is for me. I really enjoy it. Again, I already mentioned that it hit me at the right time as a kid, with the art being what it is, the characters, the big characters being prominent throughout the set. And for whatever reason, during the kind of COVID boom, it was the Black Panther here that's featured that really took off from a base set card, PSA graded standpoint, gold signature standpoint. So it's really interesting how the market like decides something. Maybe it isn't. Maybe somebody else was deciding that. I don't know, from some type of manipulation standpoint. But it was just really fascinating to see that card do as well as it did. But to me, this is a great set to collect. It's actually still rather cheap to collect, especially raw. And so I think that is something that if you're looking to chase something, 94 is high on the list.
94 is high on the list. I just want to point out Tom's comment. Yes, there's a 4-issue comic run with full page art, beautiful and still cheap. Agreed. Beautiful thing to run after. And is this the first year we get gold foil facsimile cards?
Yeah. The signatures. Yeah, this is the first
and
year.
Those are major chases for a full set. And I will also say, incredibly hard to grade. Took me a while to even get past a 9 for Surfer. They're super tough. They chip extra horribly. I don't know why, but they're tough to find.
Well, you get one gold sig per pack, but when you have a base set of 140 cards, it becomes quite the chase. A number of boxes are needed to be able to complete that. And so this Human Torch, I'm on record, just the brightness that shows is just incredible.
It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's just that Nightcrawler is probably one of my favorite Nightcrawler cards. The Rogue is like her above the sky like that with the cloud. I mean, it's so stupid good. Like, I don't know. It's crazy because masterpieces, and there's good art in a lot of sets. Flair Ultra Adventures that came out had beautiful, beautiful pieces by people. And Flair Ultra is really also one of those sets that has major artists come into it from masterpieces. It's just structured differently. But Marvel Masterpieces is meant to highlight the main component of what it is to be a Marvel card collector, which is to focus on the art and for it to be unencumbered.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our, it's going to bring us eventually to the big one.
It is. And I'll just, again, reiterate the reason we want to show the history of Marvel Masterpieces here, not only from an educational standpoint, but if you saw that pre-order price from 2023 Marvel Masterpieces and it hits you in the gut, just know that if you haven't already collected some of this older stuff, it's special, and it has great art. A lot of the elements that you can enjoy at a much better price point currently.
I agree. I think that's the way to go for a lot of people, is like, if you are new to the game and you're looking at the new Marvel Masterpieces, and like Justin said, that price hit you hard, which it hit everybody hard. That's not, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's us too. This video is meant to be a moment for you to take a step back and be like, okay, there's so much good stuff out there. Let me take let's do the hunt. and look for
Yeah,
good stuff.
that's right. Things began to change
Yep.
with 1995 Marvel Masterpieces. Not only the way the set was constructed, the the chase cards, but the style. This this set really kind of stands out on its own in the Marvel Masterpiece history. Do
It's
you agree?
definitely an outlier. Yeah, it's definitely an outlier. It's 4 artists, each one vastly different, and it gives the cards like 93 a really interesting range, and the way you set them up in the binder too is really fun.
It
That is
is.
always, yeah, it is really fun, and I do think that the emotion cards are still in hand some of the nicest foiling diversity kind of like cards I've ever seen Marvel put out. Like to have those different names of the characters with the artist name on the back, it's just laid out very interestingly and
Mhm.
it's a very thrilling looking design and set. I do have the sell sheet for that. Do you guys want to take a look?
Let's do that, and then we're going to get to how the set is constructed.
Yes, let's do that first. Let's let everybody know how it's constructed.
Yeah. So first of all, you have 4 artists here. You've got Dave DeVries, you've got Demetrios Patelis, you've got Peter Scallion, and then Nelson. So there's 4 artists that contributed art. And what they did is each one would paint a painting of each character that was given on the checklist. And that checklist ultimately has 3 of each character outside of the last artist's selected cards. And we'll get to that. So the first character on the checklist is Apocalypse. So there's 3 cards for Apocalypse. That means one of the 4 paintings was not used as a base set. Okay. And so you're going to get, like we got Thanos here, you're going to get 3 versions of Thanos by each individual artist in the base set checklist. And then after card number 114, which is Wolverine, you then get into what's called the artist pick. And they would pick one of the paintings of a character. And, for various reasons, whether it best demonstrated the talent of that artist or just the painting itself of that character. And that finished off the full checklist all the way up to 150, with one card 151 being the actual checklist card. From there, you had the canvas cards. And again, it was just one of the characters selected by the artist. And from one artist. And that checklist is 1 through 22, includes Archangel, Beast, Bishop, Cable, Daredevil, Galactus, Gambit, Ghost Rider, Human Torch, Iceman, Invisible Woman, Jubilee, Magneto, Namor, Professor X, Psylocke, Punisher, Rogue, Silver Surfer, and Spider Man.
Ooh.
Let's go. Thing and War Machine. But the 2 most important chase cards were the Hollow Flash, which is, canvas cards were new to Masterpieces.
Yep.
The Hollow Flashes were new to Masterpieces, and those were 1 in 12 packs. So you wouldn't get very many in a box.
No.
And then the big chase was the Mirage cards. And this is the first time we see this insert, but not the last time we see this insert, Mirage. And it's a card where you can, as you tilt it, you can see different images of characters. And there was only 2 versions of that, and they were 1 in 360 packs. Very difficult to hit, super condition sensitive. And the card number 1 featured the classic Avengers, which was Captain America, Hulk, Iron Man, and Thor. Card number 2 featured the X-Men, which was Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, and Wolverine.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
100%. That's great, man. Yeah, and it's crazy how 95 basically held the tradition after this, right? This is where like a lot of things become standard. Canvases, hollow blast, you know what I mean? This is where it starts becoming kind of solidified what, Masterpieces ends up
Yeah,
becoming.
you're having these elements that the eventual modern sets is what I think you're pointing
Yeah.
to, can pull from to say, hey, what should be in a modern set?
Yeah. And I think that's important to discuss for people who, work at Upper Deck, people who interested in collecting this stuff. Whenever a set is made, the set should have something there that allows it to pull from a legacy insert,
Mm-hmm.
and protecting that insert under a particular brand, meaning like a set like Marvel Masterpieces, like canvas cards in Marvel Masterpieces, those should always be together. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So things like that are starting to become more set in stone. And it's really interesting to see how they advertised this Marvel Masterpiece 95. And you can see that here, where they show the past,
Yeah.
tradition without compare, and then they show you the example of the 4 artists, like Justin was mentioning earlier, and then success beyond compare, fully painted sets, blown the competition away from 4 industry shaking Marvel card debut with 94 X-Men to hit premier Ultra Spider-Man Flair as the industry leader. And then you get all of these kind of breakdowns of everything. And then we go into how they advertised it, how they showed it off, and the emotion sets, and how they described, just like Justin did, everything here with the mirage and the checklist.
So the emotions were the kind of building on the signature series, signature for Hildebrandt into this new 95 masterpiece set where you not only get the signature, but you get this emotion that goes down the side that points to some element of the emotion of the character.
Yeah, and it kind of like is like an alternate name or emotionally heavy kind of word. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very cool, and the foilings on there wonderful. And then of course we carry forward from '94 the Gold Signature Series logo that's up in the corner here, which is pretty exciting. And then advertising this was very much kind of like dare to compare
Yeah.
DeVries, Nelson, Scallon, Patelis, and then you
And
can see
look,
all of them.
going back to those emotions, one per pack,
Yep.
150 cards. It's still one of the more difficult 90s sets to complete.
Emotion set has always been very difficult to complete. A lot of people always have trouble with it,
Mhm.
and pulling from it as well. So it is not an easy thing to do. It's always been a difficult thing to do.
Well, this is fascinating sell sheet here showing how they assembled those artists.
Pretty cool, right?
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Sell sheets are the way to go, man. Sell sheets, promotional material. It's the way we figure out how the sets are really constructed because we don't have. It's not like anyone kept this information, other than all of us.
Yeah. What
But
was in the brain of the set designers at the time?
yeah. And how do they advertise it? So many inserts too are not really shown in like checklists on the internet because they were only shown in the sell sheet. So many different cards are kind of like, wait, there's an autograph pack pulled autograph version of something. Not
Mhm.
in this, of course, but in like
Right.
other sets. How would you know that it's from the sell sheet or from a promotional used on a card? Like that's the only way you would know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to we got another. Oh, I want to show this other
Oh,
version
so
of
good.
95 here. When you're looking at DeFreeze, he always has the character coming at you, which is really cool
Yep.
with this Wolverine here. Super awesome. But
Awesome.
make sure you take the time to look at each art from each artist in this set. And at first you might say, well, that style's not for me, but come back to it and just be with it. You may realize, well, it may not be for me, but I can still really appreciate it.
And that's the way to do it. I love it.
Yep. 1996 Marvel Masterpieces, Mr. and Mrs. Boris Vallejo and Julie Bell. Like they capstone the 90s, right?
Yep.
They climaxed with this set. And to this day, still the most expensive box you can buy from 1990s.
Yeah. Yeah. Still the most expensive, still the most coveted. This was at the time where Marvel, unfortunately, started having some difficulty in the industry
Mhm.
and started having financial issues. And this set was coming out right at that moment. And the legend goes that half the set wasn't really released, stuck in a warehouse, burned down, bought by someone privately, yada, 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 all this kind
Who
of stuff.
knows?
Who
Yeah.
knows? There's no proof of any of this. There were auctions at the time from Skybox and Impel. Well, Skybox, where people would buy things at these auction houses that were outside the warehouses. That is
They,
true.
they also auctioned the own brand, the brand, the name Skybox. Like that got auctioned.
Skybox.
That's how Upper Deck bought it, by the way.
Yeah. So a lot of things had happened there. But the boxes are scarce. That is a fact. They're not super easily found. They're very difficult to source. And you can tell by the box itself, too, that this set was not super premium, but like super, super, super premium. They just wanted it to be as gallery worthy. Like you could hang up these cards in a gallery. You know what I mean? And that's how they want to treat it. Even looking at the Marvel Masterpiece logo, having that silver kind of foiling effect inside the logo, the
Yeah.
galleries, you know what I mean? There was quite a bit being done here to ensure that this would be feeling like you got a piece of art. And it's actually the very first set to offer getting an original painting, pulling a redemption card that would allow you to get the original painting, which is crazy.
Incredible chase. Yeah. Absolutely
Incredible
incredible.
chase. Incredible chase.
So we get a base set of 99 character cards with card 100 being the checklist. So we keep the checklist alive here. And it's broken up into characters and then duels and legacies and then Genesis. And then we get to our chase cards. Our chase cards are the gallery cards, which is really like Canvas. And hence now we call the modern stuff like Canvas Gallery.
Yes.
And you get the double impact, which wasn't unusual in the sense of like the Power Blast was like a dual sided card. But this was different in that you got two different characters front to back. So you got the double impact. Wonderful chase card, one in every 4 packs. And then to your point, apparently like a 1 in 60,000 packs chance of pulling a redemption.
Yep.
And the redemption art, there's a checklist here. I don't know if it's the actual.
I have the sell sheet for us, so we'll have it there.
Let's get it from there. But Julie and Boris could not be celebrated more for the work that they did on this set. And, of course, it includes love and hate type of, do you like the way they represented your character, your favorite character? It's not my favorite Spider-Man. It doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. But, man, they knocked Venom out of the park. Dark Phoenix, maybe the best, right?
Yeah.
Surfer, okay.
How dare you?
All right, let's see the sell sheet.
So, crazy thing about this set is it is a fan favorite. It's very difficult to put together because it's very premium, and it's always been expensive. And this is how they presented it: the Masters, and then you have a Julie Bell, Captain America, and a Boris Vallejo, Silver Surfer. So you have this kind of thing: 100 painted cards by well-known artists. Win an original Marvel Masterpiece 96 painting on display in card stores this December. The best art, the best characters. And I think Marvel Masterpiece at this time, that is the tagline that kind of became the legacy of the set, which is the best art, the best characters. And I think that's the way it should always be treated. The brand should always be treated as the best art, the best characters.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put those two words together, masterpieces, and say like this masterpiece here for Marvel, it's got to be the best. That's what you're going to expect. And the
people who
part of that and the art's part of that.
100%. And it painted, right? It has to be where you would not normally see these characters treated. Because you remember at the time, black line, blue line, comic book art was kind of the art of cards, which is, my favorite, really. But painted pieces really is reserved for masterpieces. And that's kind of what happened here. So here's the back of this one sheet. And sorry, it's taking a little long to load. It's a big image.
It's a great image.
It's a great image. Simply the best. Simply the best. The best chase. Congratulations. You've just won an original piece of painted art from Marvel Masterpiece 1996. And then we have the kind of layout of this, the checklist, and then the redemption cards are down here, which is Beast, Elektra, Gambit, Human Torch, Silver Surfer, Spider-Man, Storm, Venom, and Wolverine.
Any of those would be just so incredible.
Incredible. So incredible to own. But yes, and then you have the Legacy and Genesis, as you mentioned before. And this is what's the advertisement, and you can see it's just 90s perfection of dropping these characters in there.
In a set that's still very difficult to grade highly, right?
Very difficult, yeah.
I haven't checked the pop reports in the various grading services, but there's likely very few full Gen Mint 10 sets that are out there.
Very few. We saw this, and you and I spoke about this like
Mhm.
a year or two ago now. Wow.
Yeah.
Where 96 was going to be one of the biggest sets for 10 chasing. We know a lot of people who are trying,
Mhm.
very few people who've done it. The double embossed cards are so interesting. We've never seen that come back because it is a very difficult card to make, I would imagine, having both sides embossed so differently to each other
And
and both
maintain any
high
quality.
gloss.
I mean, they almost all come out of PSA 7.
Yeah, always.
It's just tough.
It's very tough.
Well, Marvel goes bankrupt and Masterpieces disappears from 1996 for over 10 years to 2007.
Crazy to think about it. 10 years. Wow.
Yeah. And that hiatus, you know, left people really wanting this product if it would show up again. And it does eventually show back up, but it's not the same.
It's very different. A lot of people mistake thinking Marvel Masterpieces didn't have original art for the cards. It did. However, the card art was also being used for other things like Versus System, right? So it wasn't a dedicated one artist, but some of the work in there is done for the cards intended for original card art for Masterpieces.
So
In
I want
fact,
to I want to
yeah,
restate what you just said. So
yeah,
the art that's in there was original art that Upper Deck owned and had been used in their Versus system, right? And
there's a lot. Yeah,
some of the art was also made for this set. So it's a mix of
it's a mix.
the yeah, when you use the term reused art, it doesn't mean it was necessarily comic book art that was pulled off a comic book page.
That's the difference. And a lot of people, the difference is this: you make art intended for a trading card, you make art intended for a comic book, a poster, blah, 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 blah. The art that is original, when you hear the words original trading card art, that means the art that was made was intended for a trading card. The
Right.
difference that we deal with now, especially with this set, is that some of that art might be from a comic book, some of that art might be for a card, but also appeared on a Versus System card because they
Mhm.
came out similar years. So you get a lot of overlap here, and you lose a lot of what Masterpieces is. The original image you have here with Hulk, Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, and Wolverine is actually done by our favorite Joe Jusko.
Yeah.
And this was intended for the set as an image for the set to kind of show, hey, Marvel Masterpieces. Where I
Yeah.
think the set is different, but where the set is the same as our Marvel Masterpieces tradition is in the
Mhm.
sketch cards. And we'll talk about that when we're ready.
Yeah, and look, so the base set here is 90 cards, so that pops back up, back to pointing back to 1992. The chase cards here, you get these Spider-Man inserts, which were 1 in 4 packs, with Fleer Spider-Man foil parallels, 1 in 18 packs. You get Skybox X-Men inserts, 1 in 4 packs, with the Fleer X-Men foils, 1 in 18 packs. And you get splash page cards, and then there's these things, box toppers and case toppers. Really, that's you know, I mean, it's not really a chase, but it is a chase in the sense of completing a set. But the big one was the artist sketch cards, which were 1 in 36 packs.
Yep.
And what
One
makes
per
this so
box.
interesting? What's that?
One per box.
One per box. And what makes this so interesting is not only the variety of artists, but the artists that did it. And this is sketch cards was not new to Marvel cards. In fact, they'd already been around for 10 years, beginning in 97, but they are new to Marvel Masterpieces. And this really kind of began to set the next era for Marvel cards, specifically with sketch cards.
Yeah. This is the start of it. This is kind of the first time we have a Marvel Masterpiece sketch card. And again, artists in this '07, '08, these three sets, these three editions of Marvel Masterpieces
Mhm.
are it's just insane. It's insane who they were able to get. It's insane how they were able to get certain artists. And some artists have like one or two sketch cards. Some artists have 10 sketch cards. Some artists have 500 sketch cards. It's a very big range of different artists for this. I will say this though. Marvel Masterpieces '07, '08 is actually a very beautiful set people disregard it a little too quickly. To see the base card, the gold foil, the gold border, I mean, and then a
Yes.
foil card, I really love that. And that has something that we see come back in 16 with
Mhm.
base what if gold foil signature. You know what I mean? So they took that 3 thing and then they started multiplying it. But it kind of starts in 95, '07 brings it back, and it does it pretty elegantly here.
Yeah. So they got the foil set here and then the gold border set. So you get basically 2 parallels to the base set, which is, again, if you're a set collector, is a lot of fun. The 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 thing that still builds the value in these boxes, not only due to the fact that they began to be lower printed in comparison to the 90s, they were released in a period of time where not a lot of people were, it didn't have mass appeal or mass awareness, but it's the sketch cards, right? That's what people are still chasing. You've got to be careful in purchasing sketch cards from these sets because there were a lot of blanks that are out there and they may actually not be official in the sense
Yes.
of who the artist is. So make sure you connect yourself to someone who like has really deep, intimate knowledge of this set if you're going to spend any real money on a sketch card to verify whether or not it's the actual artist. And you might actually want to reach out to that artist as well to see if it was one that they did that went in the pack or not.
Due diligence is really
Mhm.
important at this point in the game, especially '07 with sketch cards. Um, so you need to go ahead and be on top of
Mhm.
that, in my opinion.
So,
Yeah.
so the 2000 release had a what we'll call the 2007, set one or set A. And then in 2008, 2 other releases occurred, set two or set three or set B or C, depending on how you want to say it. So you had these 3 different boxes released within a span of a little over a year, all in the 2000s. And series 2 or set 2 or B focus more, I think, on heroes, where series 3, which is the box that appears to be more widely available, is more of a villains set.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful set. I love the sketch cards from here. I'm a huge fan of them. It's very
Mhm.
hard for me to find any, unfortunately, but the ones I do have has taken me years to get, and I'm very happy to own them. It's a beautiful set.
Yeah, still fun. This was announced at San Diego Comic-Con when it was released, so there is some San Diego Comic-Con
Consistency.
aspect that you can get, which is, I
Yeah.
think, a fun part of what it means to chase. And here you can see on this Carnage is that gold
Yeah.
border that you were
It's
referring to.
nice, man. I like that gold border a lot, man. I think that's super undervalued. I think they're super pretty and they're very well done.
Yeah. All right. So then we have another virtually 10-year hiatus for Marvel Masterpieces until we get back to Mr. Joe Jusko, where it all started, for 2016 Marvel Masterpieces. And this is really what begins what we have come to know as the modern version of Marvel Masterpieces. Um, Joe, I think, started working on these, 2013, 14, something like that,
Yeah, maybe I think maybe even 12, like at the
maybe even
tail end.
12.
Yeah.
And it was, he did not get it done in 3 months, like
No
like he
way.
did when he
There'd be no way to get this done in 3 months.
uh, first off, we have a 90 card base set. That is paralleled, as Fausto has mentioned already, it's paralleled into a gold signature, which is not numbered, and then a what if that is numbered. And we'll get to the numbering here in a minute because it can be confusing if you're not familiar with it.
Yes.
They did include chase cards, which is the canvas series. Then you get the battle spectras, holofoils, and mirages. And of course, you have printing plates, you have sketch cards, and then you have signature series, which I think is called the silver spectrums, which are out
Yep.
of 10. Again, we'll get to the numbering here in a minute. And then you have one of ones. And so it's just a really big set with a lot of hits and chases in it. And it's virtually all numbered cards.
Yeah. And that was the uptick. And I remember talking to UD about this and them mentioning how they wanted to go back to the original of how it was done for Marvel Masterpieces. So they tapped Joe. And then what they wanted to do was to make it so, again, super, 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 super premium and make every card hard numbered. The numbering is very interesting on these, and
Mm-hmm.
it is part of a little bit of confusion for people. And this does set up a strange thing that ends up happening with Marvel Masterpieces now, which is the set ends up being controlled by a handful of collectors in terms of what's available and so forth. Hence, the prices go up. And this is kind of where it starts. I mean, really, 16 is the start of modern Marvel card collecting. 2012 was the first time, well, not technically 2012, it was the film sale Spider-Man, but 2012 premiere was when we get a full set of serial numbered
Mm-hmm.
cards. This is kind of like, this starts everyone thinking a little bit differently on how to collect.
Yeah. So let's go through that makeup. So again, the base set has 90 cards, but of those 90 cards, they are tiered, and we like to affectionately call them tier 1 being the most numbered, tier 2 second most, tier 3 third most or least, second least, third least, and then the fourth tier being the shortest printed of the base set. So tier 1 has 1,999 cards. That is through the first 36 cards. And then from there, you get to tier 2, which is 1,499 serial number cards. That goes all the way up till card number 63, Black Widow. Then you get to tier 3, which is 999 cards. And that lasts all the way up to card number 81, which is Thor. And then the last set of cards, 9 cards, which is tier 4, they're numbered to 99. So what that means is, as for the base set, a normal base set, only 99 potential sets can be made.
And the worst thing for a character collector to hear is that their character is tier 4, just so everyone knows.
So if your wallet is the issue,
Yes.
and look, they stay true to the idea of the best characters, right?
Yes.
And the tier 4 characters in 2016 is Spider-Man, Wolverine, Silver Surfer, Iron Man, Venom, Hulk, Deadpool, Mephisto, and Doctor Doom.
Big
So
league.
yeah, all big league there for sure. So that's the base card. Then you have what is called the purple parallel.
Yep.
The purple parallel. All it has is a purple foiling, right? It's still the same card as the base set, but they're all numbered to 199. So you can get your tier 4 character, but it's got the purple foiling and number to 199. And that there's no change in the numbering throughout the purple parallel.
So there are only 199 purple parallel sets.
Correct. Then you get to the legendary orange or the orange parallel, and those are all numbered to 99.
Yeah.
And so again, only 99 possible orange parallel sets. And then you get to the signature tier, and they're all numbered to 10. So you get a signature from Joe on the card, and they're all numbered to 10.
And all of this is on card, no stickers.
Correct. Beautifully said. Then you get to the signature series. Those are not numbered. Okay. Those are not numbered, but the word is, and Fausto, tell me if you know how this is confirmed, but the word is that they're tiered just like the what if parallels, which we'll get to in just a moment. Again, they're not numbered. They are shorter printed than the base, but they're supposedly structured in the way the what if parallel is structured.
Yes.
Okay. So the what if, let's see if we can show one here in one of these slides. Don't think I have one on the slide. Nope, I don't. The what if has the trade dress of the character's comic book that it either originally appeared in or is connected to them in some other way. And it's beautiful.
It's awesome.
And with the with the What If, again, it has a different printing. The tier ones, which are the most printed, they're numbered to $14.99, where the base set is at $19.99. The tier 2 is $999. Tier 3 is $499, and the tier 4s are to 50. So there's only 50 versions of the tier 4, and the numbering, in terms of which ones are the tiers, are the same as the base set. So the What If tier 4s: Doctor Doom, Mephisto, Deadpool, Hulk, Venom, Iron Man, Silver Surfer, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. And those also have a signature version of the card that is numbered to 10. It's kind of a character collector's dream and nightmare.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it's the most awesome thing to ever have in your collection, but it is the most miserable chase because Marvel Masterpiece is so popular and people do set collect. It is a very difficult thing to do, very difficult thing to get.
But then you add the fact that there is a red Spectrum 1 of 1, which is a parallel to the base set. Okay.
Right.
Not the What If. So the What If does not have a 1 of 1. Only the base set parallel red Spectrum is 1 of 1. And those are difficult. And then you throw on top of that this is the first time the printing plates are made available. And the printing plates are not a redemption of any kind. They're all were made available individually in packs and on e-pack. So you have to collect each one individually. And there's 4.
It's also the very first set to be released on e-pack. So it's a completely different beast to collect this.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But these printing plates, they come in 4 colors, and those are 1 of 1s of the character as well.
And there's 8 of them. 4 of the base, 4 of the What If.
Again, a nightmare.
A nightmare. A literal nightmare.
With the chase cards, the canvases, you have an unnumbered version, and then you get a numbered to 99 version and a numbered to 25, which is one of my favorite inserts for modern masterpieces, by the way. The canvas galleries, because they're not as paralleled as the base set, obviously.
Yeah.
But you can get your unnumbered version of it. Those are, easy and cheap. The out of 99's fun. They're in the realm of affordability, depending on your budget. But then you get the high-end version of out of 25, which adds the element of a chase and cost there to it. But those are fun, and they knocked it out of the park with the character list on 2016. You got Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, Thanos, Thor, Iron Man, Daredevil, Cyclops, Storm, and Venom. And Jusko, he went all out on these from an art standpoint. It's really good.
Yeah, beautiful.
You get the Battle Spectras, so we get those back with Joe, and there's 16 versions of those, and you have of the different battles, including Spider-Man Venom versus Carnage, which has Spider-Man in the background, so technically a Spider-Man card.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
You get Wolverine versus Sabretooth, which is great, and many others. You have an unnumbered version, and you have an out of 99 version, and the foiling on that is beautiful. It's
very
beautiful. Teal, at least it's like a teal blue to me.
Yeah.
Beautiful card. And look, it has a similar effect as Fausto mentioned that they began to see in 2013 Fleer Retro with PMGs. Really did.
You see that come back, and you see them making that gem kind of like connection there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. When you get to the holofoils, they have an unnumbered version. You have the out of 99 and out of 25. The out of 25s are the kaleidoscopes. And that's a set of 17 cards. Still fun to chase as well. Yeah. The Mirages are not numbered, but they're 1 per case. And we've already talked about the printing plates. And let's talk about the sketch cards, Fausto, because this was, as I recall, a controversy because Upper Deck kind of really pushed the Jusko connection a little too strongly here, where they wanted all the artists to do a sketch card that was an homage to some work that Joe did in Masterpieces, whether it be 93 or 92. And so it kind of forced artists to limit their creativity and do something that,
It's one of
Didn't
those
copy.
things, right? It's one of those things where it sounds in theory like it's a really great thing.
Hmm.
Probably the way to fix that would be that it was a limited version of sketch cards,
Yeah.
where you had the regular sketch cards and then you had like maybe 5 or 6 artists Joe approved that did
Yeah.
like 10 each that were homages. You know what I mean?
Or
Because
each artist just did one. And
or
so
just
it might be
yeah,
fun to
right. It's like a
chase.
subset, right? It's like a
Yeah.
subset. But making every sketch card that way, it's actually, and I'm not saying this. Actually, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say anything about anybody's collections. They are very nice. There's some that are beautiful, and a lot
Yep.
of people really, really hard on these sketch cards. But it is definitely something that, in terms of level of quality, right?
Mhm.
Because people were forced to be in a box, and Joe is very difficult and to uh,
Emulate.
to emulate. Thank you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It led to a lot of issues for a lot of artists, and rightfully so. So it was just one of those things, and I think it was a sketch card per box, which you see has completely changed to
Yeah,
the most recent.
it's a sketch card per box, and that still drives a lot of why people want to open that product because they
Yeah,
love the idea of a, basically what is essentially an original art that's on a licensed product out of a pack, and it's
yeah,
guaranteed per box.
yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So that brings us to 2018 Marvel Masterpieces, where Upper Deck went international with the artist, right?
The
They got a
best.
global sensation, Simone Bianchi, who is just as fun as a person as he is a great artist.
Sweet.
And
Just the
he
best.
brought, yeah, he brought, really a new look from, you know, realism fantasy, style to the Marvel Masterpieces brand.
It's almost like he got all Marvel Masterpiece characters and he put them in a world that was the Simone Bianchi world.
Yeah,
And he did such a good job with that because you can see in the environments how they correlate, floating stones, the technology, desert landscapes. There's just this really beautiful surrealism, Mobius kind of connection in Simone's work. And it's very prevalent in the pieces you see. And when the set was first announced, there were a lot of people who backed Joe's set and spent a lot of money on Joe's set because it got expensive. It wasn't expensive at first, and then people started being like, okay, I'm going to monopolize this, and it got very expensive very quickly.
hmm,
Simone, a lot of people were, not a lot of people, but a good half of the community were kind of like, no, I don't like this, no, 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 no. And very idiotically, people made those quick judgments because they've only
yeah,
seen 9 cards, and then immediately upon release and people got to see the whole gallery, people kind of were like, well, this is perfect for masterpieces, this is legendary work, and it became a huge fan favorite because people got a chance to sit with the work. And that's really the way to handle masterpieces, is to just sit with the work like we've been mentioning and let it kind of like wash over you, and then kind of settle into it and enjoy it from there. Yeah.
yeah. Be careful to make rush judgments, and then be careful to fall into the crowd, because typically what really appears to be the crowd is a loud minority, not the silent majority,
Yeah.
right?
Beautifully said.
And to your point, from I wasn't around collecting in 2018, so I wasn't there, but I've heard what you just said repeatedly. And again, having experienced Simone in person, having actually owned some of his art now, and I've experienced this set, I have to agree that
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Now,
Yeah.
2018 really followed the same structure as 2016 for the most part. We'll go through slight variations of the changes, but it was tiered 1 through 4 with the same numbering for the base set, same numbering for the purples, same numbering for the oranges and for the autos, and of course for the red spectrum 1 of 1s and printing plates. Also included the gold signatures, which are unnumbered, which I believe follow the same tiering as the what ifs. And the big thing to know about that is that the tier fours there's only 50 of them as opposed to 99 like the base set. What is interesting is that technically the base set includes the gallery cards, because they're numbered all the way to 100. So it picks up at number 91,
Yeah.
where the base set normally ends at 90, and it goes all the way to 100. And again, the numbering for the canvas galleries is 99 or unnumbered. And then, of course, 99 the res to 25, and the printing plates.
Yeah. And the big change here for this set is they bring back what 96 did, where you have 2 redemption cards for 2 original pieces of art inserted in the box.
Yeah.
This set is also released on EPAC, which we'll talk about later. And then it also has one of my favorite inserts of all time. And I have the full set and one of the preliminary arts. Is how much I love it, because I'm usually very much in my box of Surfer stuff. But
Yep.
it is the preliminary art set. And the preliminary art set is a very good insert that shows Simone's process. And it's something that Upper Deck realized to do here because of how Simone works. And not only that, but some of those pieces had redemption cards to them that you could actually get and own one of the original artwork. And it is original artwork because it's also a card. So even though it is a sketch, that sketch being printed on a card has it act as an original card art.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
License,
redemptions.
license art.
Licensed
And again,
art. Yeah.
preliminary being like, this is kind of what he submits to UD Upper Deck for approval before he spends all the time painting it, right?
Yeah.
It's the
This
preliminary.
is his thought process, how he decides to position the character, the composition. And he's mentioned this before, and there are multiple things he does with a thumbnail and to the fully prelim type of thing, which is pretty amazing. And his process is super magical. You know what I mean? And so you guys are aware, Jusco's set, you didn't have any original art because it was all purchased before release. It was gone immediately. 2018 was monopolized with Metropolitan Gallery, and we saw that gallery show before release as well. So you see that artwork being shown, but the PAs was saved, and 2 pieces were saved for the boxes, which is pretty exciting.
Right. And then on top of that, the preliminaries were 1 per box. So they're short printed, but they're not rare by any stretch. You did get the Mirages, which is, was in 2016, like we mentioned, following that. You mentioned the Redemptions. And then the sketch cards here are 1 per box as well.
Yes. And there are no homages, nothing like that. And I will say also, too, the preliminary art cards, they're the based on the math, there should only be 102 or 101 of each card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that should be the case based on the boxes and all. There's some kind of count like that. Don't quote me on that, but that they are, in that they're not hard numbered, but that's how it comes out. It's, yeah.
Yeah. Again, this product was also released on Upper Deck's EPAC, following the same as 2016's. And that makes it difficult without some guaranteed box hits that are numbered cards to be able to determine the actual print run. But, as Fausto says, you got some math wizards out there who have worked on figuring that out. But Upper Deck began to, really change the way people collect this, because you would be able to make achievements on EPAC and the cards could live there. And for some people, holding their collection on Upper Deck site became something they wanted to do, not having to have it stored at home.
Yeah. That's now become very popular with vaults and those kind of systems from eBay and all that kind of stuff, where people are keeping their collectibles in a storage facility, mostly based on the reason that something could happen insurance wise. And hopefully those programs, and I don't know the specifics, would help cover any loss, and there would be actually some physical responsibility there.
Well, at the time of recording this video, which is July 2023, you can still go to Upper Deck's EPAC and trade for a 2016 Marvel Masterpiece card, which has never left the EPAC ecosystem.
That's true. That is 100% true.
Well, that brings us to 2020 Marvel Masterpieces artist Dave Palumbo.
Yeah.
And Dave was a bit of a victim of COVID in the sense of the fanfare that was received around the release, but it didn't diminish how well the release was received from a collector standpoint.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. And Dave is a brilliant artist, and he is the first time we get some cross-pollination from Magic the Gathering art community, as Dave has worked on Magic the Gathering art. Magic the Gathering does a really good job of securing fantasy artists, and illustrations artists and things of that nature. So a lot of the artists that are being pulled today into the original trading card market are people who have worked or done illustrations for Magic. Dave has that connection, and you can see in the artwork Dave's style and technique to these characters, and you can see a little bit of that happening there. They're not completely, comic book drawn, super muscular, right? They have this kind of soft, textured, kind of really interesting take on the work, and it's become a very beloved set too.
Yeah, absolutely has. And I didn't want to lead with this because it's not the reason he was selected for the artist, but he is Julie Bell's son. And he obviously was well trained and developed his own style here that shows up really strongly.
Yeah.
The Ghost Spider here, Spider Gwen, will continue to go down as one of the best Spider Gwen cards that have been made from an original art standpoint. Some of his art is really attractive to some people it's not, and that's going to be true throughout every
For
set.
every artist, it's very right, artist subjective, and Masterpieces is one of those things where you have to go into an open mind being like, oh, this is going to have a new look at different Marvel characters, and
Not
that's
going
what
to
you
leap off
want.
the comic book page. That's right.
Right,
So
you
it's not going
want,
to be the version that you had as a kid.
and that's the point of Masterpieces. Masterpieces is meant to highlight the artist, and the artist highlights the characters with their style, and that's the uniqueness of the set, and that's why it's our most beloved set and the most chased after set, because it has that kind of legacy to it, and it has inspired collectors to pursue collecting these cards differently every time, which is really exciting.
So Upper Decks followed the same kind of modern structure for Marvel Masterpieces 2020 as they did with 2016, 2018, and now 2020. For some of the big changes that they made was introducing the Metal Gs. The Metal Gs are metal cards, actual metal cards that are hand numbered to 25. Now, it is technically a parallel of the base set.
Yeah.
So it's the art that's on the Metal Gs is the base set art. That's obviously used for the gold SIGs and the what ifs. But that means every version of the 90 characters has a Metal G version numbered to 25. And there's no parallels to the Metal G. So it's only the number 25, and that is it.
That's it. Yeah. And that's it. There's no different colors, no different tiers. They're all 25, and that's the full set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sketch cards were a big hit in this set, obviously.
Yes.
Some really
and then
good.
You also have the preliminary arts as well coming back too.
Yeah. Yeah. And these boxes are still available. I bought into a box break last night.
Oh, nice.
On one of these, but they are expensive. They are not cheaper.
They are not cheaper.
Technically, if you were able to get a pre-order of 2023 Masterpieces, you were doing a lot better than what these boxes go for today. That's true for 2016, 18, and 2020. But the thing that's really interesting about all three of those sets, whether it be 2016, 2018, or 2020, you can pick up those singles, the individual single cards, for a really decent price. Obviously there's exceptions when you're talking about one-of-ones or redemption cards and things of that nature. The out of 25 red canvases are, expensive. But in terms of even building the tier 4 set for 2020, you can do it, pretty inexpensive in comparison to what it takes to buy a box.
Yes. Do tons of research before buying into boxes.
And one of the things about 2020 that I think upset some collectors, but also has impacted the quote, value of the product, is they didn't stick to a character list for the tier 4 of your top characters. You get Wolverine and you get Storm, but really outside of that, it's a huge drop off.
It was not a very good move by UD. I remember this being debated. I remember being like, well, it's good because now I get to collect my character and I don't have to worry. I was like, true, but also the set as a whole will suffer because who wants to complete a full set? You know what I mean? If like you have to spend $1,000 on an ego card, you know what I mean, or $500 on an ego card. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it just doesn't support that, you know. And it's not like it lowered the price. There's still less of those cards to be gotten, so you're just having to compromise now.
Right. So the tier 4 is a Wolverine Scar, which is a Hulk son or something
Planet
like that.
Hulk type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. You have Red Skull, Gray Gargoyle, everyone's favorite. Ego, the Living Planet. Incredible art, not a favorite character. Storm, which is beautiful. Martin X, which again, great art, but who is Martin X? I didn't know there was a space version of Iceman. Just kidding. Craven, and then Emma Frost, again, which is a great card, and that's a great character. But it's not a tier 4 character by any stretch in comparison to what Masterpieces have become known for tier 4 with 2016 and 2018.
And just to reiterate, the art is fantastic. It has nothing to do with the art. It is literally the placement of the characters for the cards that make that difficult to pursue a full set at certain prices. We don't know what's going to happen with 2023, so that will be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of 2023.
Yeah.
So here we have our newest Marvel Masterpiece artist, Mr. Dan dos Santos. And as we spoke to earlier, his art has a light and brightness to it. He is often accused of being a digital artist, although he does do digital work. The art for Marvel Masterpieces has nothing to do with anything digital. It's all painted oil.
And it's insane to see. It's insane to see. It just glows. It glows very well. The details vary there. Female characters, male characters all have interesting different features across different characters. There's just a lot. It's a spectacle to see, and I'm excited for people to see the rest of the set.
Yeah, and look, just know that this video will be edited at some point, and it'll have a section here with the Santos's checklist. We don't have that yet. We don't know what the actual makeup of the set is going to be, but we do know that it's going to be different.
Oh, God, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. It's going to be painfully good.
It's going to be painfully good. The Battle Spectres here now have 5 versions of the card.
Mm-hmm.
You have the unnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
Ed. You have the, I guess, I don't know, do we call it blue?
I don't know. They're going to name them whatever. The most important thing about the Battle Spectres is that there's going to be an autograph version and not a facility, like an actual on-card autograph.
A green Battle Spectre gem with an on-card auto, which you can speculate is likely to be numbered to 10 because of 2 reasons. Autographs are numbered to 10 historically in the modern Masterpieces, and green PMGs, which these are, there's a relationship here between the gem products, precious metal gems, Battle Spectre gems. They're numbered to 10. And so the idea of having a gem numbered to 10 on-card auto of a Battle Spectre from a Masterpiece set is something that's new. And it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts people's desire to chase that set and or collect this product and or buy the boxes and open them. You do need to be prepared for the fact that this is also going to be on ePack. And, you know, look, it's really hard to understand how much of a product there is or isn't when it's modern and when it's released in various different ways. But just don't get so caught up into I miss the physical product, because you will have at least a window, an opportunity to get it on ePack. Doesn't mean it's going to be cheap. Doesn't mean it's going to be affordable. Doesn't mean it's going to make any logical sense to spend the money. But it will be an opportunity to get it so you don't have to FOMO into the box prices.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing to remember. You will have a chance of this on ePack, and then Comp C will have the cards. And once the achievements are out, you'll be able to make a set or get close to a set way cheaper than it would be buying a box.
There's a lot of intelligence in, hey, look, I'm just going to go after singles
and vicariously live through us. You know what I mean? There's going to be boxes on Spidey Hits channel. You know what I mean? And hopefully I have people who can come on my channel who open boxes too. And hopefully I get at least one box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just YouTube surf, man. Do not, you know what I mean? If it's not, if the price is already kind of like, this is stupid, just live vicariously through YouTubers, let them break, enjoy the cards, and then just move on and just wait
Yeah.
for the
Let
release.
us do the damage to the credit card, and
Save you the trouble.
you sit back and enjoy it. But look, I hope everyone gets exactly what they want and what they can afford. I don't want anybody to miss out in the sense of missing out. But it is important to be mindful of what this product is currently costing based on the initial pre-order of $500 a box. And so, and again, it's going to be built differently. Um, Here we can see the signature here showing the what a potential green battle spectra. By the way, green with Hella.
I
My
know,
goodness.
so good. So good. So good.
that's that's pretty special. And then we also have the ambers. Now, Fausto, this isn't the first time we've seen ambers in a product for masterpieces.
It's very weird. I don't think it's a good decision. And I'm being very opinionated here. It was in Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, which worked really well there. And it was very cool. And look, I don't like the way they did that preserved amber logo. The only reason I really am in love with the insert and why I think its redeemable quality will be is that it's similar to the Marvel Gems from 2016, where it is Pexy, where it's going to be transparent and have different colors of rarity. And that's an assumption. I don't know anything. Otherwise, I would tell you. I actually don't know anything, but I imagine by the sell sheet, by how they approached the various pictures that they showed, they're going to go down that road.
Yeah, look, I like it personally. Um, and I'm going to pull up the sell sheet here. So let me get that up here for everyone to see. And because they do show three versions of it.
Yeah.
And so to me, it appears that we're going to get a variety of numbers. We don't know what the numbering is going to be, but it does say rare serial number cards on plexi substrate, which means it's going to be see-through in some capacity. And I have to speculate that it's going to be for the entire base set.
That'd be interesting.
Um, and so again, don't know, but when you look at these cards, it's like, all right. Maybe it's only just for females because they only show females.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. I do think it is interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen here because,
But
yeah,
this Dark Phoenix, man.
I mean,
Ooh.
it's the art is just insane. It's. I'm not even talking about the art. Like seeing Dazzler there and seeing Phoenix is so good. And like,
So,
it's so good. It looks so good. It looks
you
great.
have the Mirages. It says a throwback three-way flip lenticular insert featuring art selected from the base set.
Which is
Uh,
amazing because it used to be four, and they're very hard to see when it's four images. And now that they moved it down to three, they don't look so, headache inducing. They actually look a lot better.
and by the way, I accidentally said five versions of Battle Spectrums, but it's actually four. And another thing to note here, it's not Spectra, it's
There's one
Spectrum.
other hiding, a Spectrum, sorry. There's another one hiding on the cell sheet.
Oh,
There,
there it is. Okay,
yeah,
there is five. All right. So,
yeah.
all right. There we go. It's a lot.
You got it. It's a lot. It's a
It,
lot. They
it,
look
it,
beautiful. They're gonna look great in person.
they do.
Um, you spoke to Dan on your channel, and Dan's very picky because he likes things to look good, as you can tell. And he
Mhm.
said the cards came out very nice. So I don't think we're gonna have any cards being too dark or any weird issues like that. QC, I don't know. I wasn't there to see them personally, but
I did talk to an artist, sketch card artist, who said that they measured the cards and they were having trouble putting them into one touches from the sketches.
from the
Now
sketches, yeah. So that would happen. So
they
BCW
sketch.
one
By the way,
touches.
they printed those sketches well before the actual card was printed. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
two different printings.
Completely. And this has happened in 18 and 20. The BCW one touches in one size up fit them because they're just slightly bigger, from my understanding. But
Mhm.
in case people need to have it in a one touch, which I'm the same way. So
Yeah, so we've got canvas gallery variants, one of one sketch cards, battle spectrum gems,
thank you.
holofoil parallels, uncut sheet redemptions,
Yep.
red spectrum foil-based parallels, redemptions for original art paintings, preliminary art pieces, comic book sketch covers, all by dos Santos. 2020 masterpiece also included comic book sketch covers. I forgot to mention that, but it's such a rare hit. I mean, I think I've only ever seen one from
Yeah.
Palumbo, which
Yeah.
is the Spider-Man.
There's
Uh,
very few of them. Very few. I
yeah,
think I don't know how many are for this set, but it's I think it's under 20.
yeah. In the realm of speculating, when I first saw this sales sheet and it says pack hits being a base card and premium insert or parallel cards, I was like, okay. And then it said box hit on average, Canvas Gallery, Battle Spectra, Holofoil, preliminary art. I was like, wait a minute, we don't have a sketch card per box. And then you see all these parallels. Your brain races to the point of like, okay, this is going to be printed a lot, a lot. But I'm not so sure about that, given what we've experienced up to this point. And again, it's very little, it's all speculative, but it's really hard to understand what the actual size of this print run is in comparison to 2016, 18, and 2020.
We just don't know yet. We've seen a lot more parallels. We have to see how the pre-orders go out. We're gonna have to just wait. But it's it's gonna be it's new. It's exciting. Singles will eventually be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Collect with friends. Live vicariously through us. I think we can still have fun, even though Upper Deck has now taken upon themselves to price things at ridiculous prices now. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I hear you saying is you're talking about even the price to the distributor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything because I don't know if it was said in confidence or not, or I don't want to get anybody in trouble, or
Right.
that we're supposed to know or whatever. But it was really expensive for for distributors to buy it, and of course, it wasn't as expensive as they sold it to us, or eventually we'll sell later pre-orders. But
Right.
nonetheless, it was expensive from the word go, which is on Upper Deck.
Yeah. We see changes here with the galleries, the canvas galleries. You now
I do
have
love that pink, man. I love that gold
it.
bad.
It
That's
the
nice.
the pink works with Storm, but the three changes here is or the two changes here is the green and the pink. We typically get a gold and a red already.
Hmm.
But man, it looks good with Cap,
It
and
looks good with
I'm just
Cap.
looking at this red and going, all right.
Making some decisions. I love that. All right, that might be me. That might be all
Uh-huh.
me.
We have some really clean preliminaries. So
Oh, they're
what's
beautiful.
interesting about this preliminary art as compared to the two previous being Bianchi and Palumbo, those had a red, like they use like a red pen.
Yeah.
But, but these appear to just be penciled by Dan, which is really
Yeah, so
cool.
these
It's so
these
clean.
are pencils, detailed pencils. The red was by Palumbo, and then Bianchi had very loose sketches that were very artistically abstract and interesting. And I actually am a huge fan of those. I
Hmm.
love Palumbo's too because you get like a myconite. I forget what he told me. I'm an idiot who can't remember, but it is like a little canvas thing, and it's red,
Yeah.
and this to see the values. So it is
A
very
masonite board.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mason, thank you, brother. And it's very much like to see the values of light and stuff. So it is kind of that kind of valuation of light. And these are going to be pencil pieces, but detailed pencils. So they're basically they're actual like just real like preliminary art. Here are the
Yeah.
details, and you're going to get shading. You're going to get a lot of interesting things.
That's going to be fun to collect those as well.
Yeah,
It feels like it's going to still follow the one per box, but who knows?
who
The
knows?
metal G's are different and the same. So they're the same in that there's no parallels to it. It's a parallel to the base set, numbered to 25, but they're not going to be hand numbered. If the photo holds true, they're going to be hard numbered.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, that is Marvel Masterpieces. A walk through the history of it and the way the sets are different, the way they're constructed. It's not a, you know, all inclusive tell all. I mean, you would have to have hours for each set to really go into that.
But this
But
is a great video for people to look at and spend time with. And in an hour and 29 minutes, learn what this history of this set is,
mhm.
how to collect, have a great overview. They saw sell sheets, they saw everything. I think you did a marvelous job. And I'm very happy to you invited me on here. Thank you.
I'm so thrilled you did. You bring so much history and knowledge to it, and just adds a lot of value to not only myself but to the viewer. And look, again, when we get more information about the 2023 set and its construction, I'll edit this video and have a video that really stands on its own. And I hope this helps you decide whether or not you want to continue to spend money on the current release, or maybe go back in time and enjoy some of the older sets while the kind of bigger money pours into the modern sets. But really enjoyed this, Fausto. Thank you so much. I'm a fan of masterpieces all the years, and looking forward to see how the rest of the Masterpiece brand continues to move forward even beyond 2023.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you for watching. Do me a favor, hit the like button on Fausto's channel at Sketchcardhive on YouTube. Make sure you're following him on Instagram. Also, Fausto, this little background that we have back here, he's going to make a screensaver available on the Spidey Hits Discord. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to join the Spidey Hits Discord. The Spidey Hits Discord isn't for everyone. I'll go ahead and say that. It is a place where, number one, we love people, and we love them more than we even do our own collections. We love Marvel cards, meaning that we're not there to hate on them. We're there to enjoy them. Doesn't mean you can't be truthful about how you feel about something, but it's not a place to be super negative.
Yep.
And number three, we want to keep it marvelous, keep it light and bright, meaning that if your kid were to stumble into the Discord, you wouldn't be embarrassed by what is said in there. So if you're attracted to that, that's the place for you. If not, it's totally okay. But again, link to the Spidey Hits Discord will be down below. And in the 2023 Marvel Masterpieces channel, we'll drop this image so you can have it for your desktop version of your computer. All right, Fausto, thank you. Everybody, thank you for watching.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
As
guys.
always, I hope you have a marvelous